It's the StatrCast. We are back again.
Are we,
It
a
is
third
Monday.
into the season? Just under a third into the season? Who even knows? Jimmy, give us the intro. Let's go.
Yeah, it's the StatrCast. It's the cast from the guys at StatrDraft, who are gradually and beautifully fixing fantasy football so that it's more crack and you spend less time desperately trying to work out where the hell they've hidden your team. And also it works better. I'm Jimmy, and with me is John, as always, and Dean, as usually. Unfortunately, this week we don't have Gary as power cut. Obviously, coming from a small town like Dublin, that kind of thing happens quite a bit in totally calm weather. So we wish recovery to all the people of Dublin who clearly aren't listening right now to us. What's on the menu, John?
Yeah, what's on the menu? We have many nice little topics on the menu this week. The Premier League is shaping up really nicely. We're just shy of a third into the season. It's probably one of the closest tables we've ever seen. So we're going to look at after an abysmal start to the season by Unai Emery's Aston Villa, they seem to have turned a corner and they're churning away very nicely and starting to climb that ladder. You obviously had the mental game of City versus Liverpool. That's the real reason Gary isn't here, because he doesn't want to hear that Virgil van Dijk is essentially Ben Chilwell.
Oh no! Oh no!
He's not.
That's not fair to Ben Chilwell.
Oh, sorry. Is he better than Gary Cahill ever was? No. Best centre back ever. Anyway. Oh, I'm going to get penalties for this one. Sorry, I never get German pass.
You'd miss Gary after a pool loss. After a Liverpool defeat. He should be here, but
he should be here. He's just the lovely stat of Virgil van Dijk never getting run past. You can't get run past if you run away. Then we're going to talk about Chelsea and their 47 wingers, and how there is one guy that seems to be the real deal there. The child prodigy. The kid is a baller. They looked like they were up to nothing until he came on, and wowzers. So I think we're going to kind of focus in on Villa, Pool City, Chelsea. We may end up kind of tangenting to other games because there was a lot going on at the weekend. Remember what we said about Brentford and Newcastle last weekend? Remember the way we said about Newcastle last week? That looks like it's happening.
Again.
My lovely Fulham team are in major shit. And Wolves are Wolves, so we probably won't talk about them. If we talk about anything else, we may touch on the early kickoff on Saturday. Maybe. We'll see how we go for time. We're going to look at Game Week 12 fixtures because it is the international break. So you've got a week or two of preparation and watching the internationals before that. But before we jump into the topics, let me give the quick Movember update. As you can see... Movember is here. We have obviously partnered up with the guys in Movember. They are one of our kind of key partners, one of our title sponsors on the app, and from us and everybody involved, it's one of those ones that football, men's mental health, there's such a collaboration there and such a crossover there. Jimmy's going the distance, running miles. I have one functioning hip, so I am growing a lovely mustache. Dean occasionally goes outside for a walk, and then we've got a bunch of lads at the Somerville Rovers, my football club, who won in the dramatic fashion of the 98th minute at the weekend for a 4-3 win. Wow, we are back, baby. So that is the Movember and Amateur Football who we sponsor update. So our sponsors and who we sponsor all wrapped into one neat little package. Anywho, on with the show. Where do you want to start? I'm kind of liking the idea of a little bit of Villa right now before we get into
Villa. A bit of Villa, and then before we hopefully the power will be back up in Dublin in time for Gary to hear us mocking Pool for sucking balls against City on Sunday. But for now, let's start with Villa. Villa, how did that happen?
I don't know, considering Villa didn't score in their first 4 matches or something like that in the league this season, they're up to 6th place, 4 points behind City in second. Such a juicy table this season.
It is.
It's such a juicy table this season.
It's so good. It's honestly one of the best leagues in years. And no one even cares about Arsenal on top. Literally no one cares. It's just so much movement in the top 15 of the table. It's just...
this is the thing. In second place at 3 different points of the weekend, Bournemouth were there at 1 point, Sunderland were there at 1 point, Man United were there at 1 point, Tottenham were there at 1 point, and Chelsea. We will touch on Chelsea because they are the guys who end up being the best of the rest. I think it's City now who are second, so kind of as expected. But Villa, this corner turning. Do you remember we said Villa will be fine? We very clearly said that Villa will be fine. That their form was not a permanent. Their form was never going to be a permanent fixture. It was a case of a lot of new players right at the end of the window. They did all their transfers on deadline day. Their summer was to put it kindly, it was a mess.
Yeah.
And it took a bit of time for them to figure it out. I think they have. I think they have. Jimmy, you've got numbers, haven't you?
I've got numbers on Villa. Yeah, I went digging into Villa because this is just this absolutely insane turnaround. By the way, everyone in the top 10 has been in second place this year, and we're only 10 weeks in. So think about that. So Villa's thing up until now was twofold. It was Ollie Watkins, and it was giving the ball constantly to Ollie Watkins when Ollie Watkins wasn't Ollie Watkinsing. They've got pass completion. They've got volume. And this is a stat I hate using because everybody else leans in this one so much, but they have the lowest XG in the league for the whole year, right? The last 4 wins are on the bounce, but it's also their first 4 wins. Like, as Dino touched on at the top, they were absolutely nowhere at the start of the year. So Watkins is getting, up until now, Watkins is getting all the ball because the pass completion is there, the crosses are there, there's loads of pass volume. It's not all long balls either. It's short middle, as you would expect from a high-quality team.
Yeah.
But shots on target. Watkins is getting the possibilities, but his actual getting on target with his shots is a third of McGinn's, who is, let's be honest, not a fucking forward. Not the way Watkins should be. That should be the other way around if Watkins is where he was, you know? But right now he's a third as accurate as McGinn. And a third of Rodgers. Equal with McGinn, a third of Rodgers' accuracy in terms of shots. So shitty 6 points per game for the year for Ollie Watkins, and shitty no goals for ages and ages and ages. In terms of assets, like it's Rodgers, McGinn, Cash in that order. Watkins still isn't there, but the problem for the team up until now had been they were actually trusting him, and now it seems they're not, and it's working. So I'm sorry to say Ollie Watkins is going to be one on the list, a long list of young men who seems to have had a moment and then it's all gone horribly wrong, and hopefully he comes out of it one way or another.
For the last 2 or 3 years, I think that this is a form is temporary, class is permanent kind of drill. He's going to be the one. He's going to be the second one on that plane come the World Cup in the summer behind Harry Kane. It's not going to be Danny Welbeck. It's not going to be Ivan Toney, and it's not going to be Liam Delap. It's going to be Ollie Watkins. He will find his shooting boots this season. Like, let me run you through Villa's last couple of games. So they beat Villa, or they beat Bournemouth 4-0. Bournemouth have been probably the surprise package of the season. Very defensively solid, and Semenyo has arguably been, outside of the Cyborg, the best player in the league this year. They lost 2-0 to Liverpool. That can happen at Anfield. Before that, they beat City at home. They beat Spurs away. They beat Burnley at home. So that's 2-1, 2-1, 1-0. And they beat Fulham before that. That's the game that turned their season around, was beating Fulham after the Emi Martinez penalty incident. They went on, won that game 3-1, and since then they've gone 3-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-0, lost 2-0, and then won 4-0. The wheels are back on the track. Like, let's be honest here. I'm very surprised Emery Buendia isn't one of those players in the conversation in terms of the stats. He must be very close to the back.
Not enough game time. Absolutely blistering when he plays. But this has been his problem since all the way back. There's not enough time on the pitch. So he's mid-table nonsense in Villa terms. Right now he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th for the year. But it's 9 points per game. 9 doesn't win you championships. At best, throw him on your bench. And a big part of that is down to the minutes that he's playing, or indeed not playing. Because when he's there, he's as good as anyone. But he's got 430 minutes from, 810?
Like, he did score at the weekend again. That's the piece.
He did.
Like, that's, like, and in Europe, I suppose this is the thing, a lot of his minutes have obviously come in Europe as well. Which that arguably actually makes sense. But they've also kind of changed their formation. They're not playing what they were playing last year, which was the 4-2-3-1 formation. So, Jimmy, this is where I'm going to nerd out for a second in terms of tactics, right? So, what
the floor is yours, Senator.
So the way the team lined up there at the weekend, Emi Martinez was in goals. The first couple of games, remember, Martinez was suspended, and then they played the second choice goalkeeper when Emi Martinez was injured. This is when Emery had his very weird press conference. But the back four, it was Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, Pau Torres, and Stigna. And then it was Buendia, the left, Nana and Kamara in midfield, and Don McGinn, right midfield of 4, with Rodgers and Watkins playing as 2 up top. So they've kind of moved it nearly to a 4-4-2. And then at times it becomes a 4-5-1 because Rodgers essentially plays behind Watkins. Last year he was playing off the left with McGinn in the middle alongside Boubacar or Kamara or Onana. It was McGinn and one other with the wingers, which would have been Asensio, which would have been take your pick. Like the intention here over the summer was to get in the likes of a James. So like it was like Ross Barkley, Yuri Telemans, Donny Mallon was out wide. Whereas now they've kind of gone to more of a 4-4-2. It's helped with Matty Cash's numbers because he's obviously overlapping John McGinn. John McGinn is a very stable, solid player there, which means Matty Cash is getting way more output because he's got someone who minds the shop when he goes on a mosey. So those two are dovetailing really nice together. That's one of those ones that McGinn and Cash are getting the best out of each other, rather than either of them being the leading light, if that makes sense. If you were to look at the combinations, if you watch a game and watch the combinations, a lot of Matty Cash's good stuff is coming from John McGinn battling. A lot of what John McGinn is doing well is that Cash is releasing him down the channel to go cause some damage. But like they brought in the likes of Jadon Sancho in the summer with some expectation of here be Asensio last year, be Rashford last year. Like the wingers last year were Asensio and Rashford with Watkins and Morgan Rogers playing in the 10. Or Rogers on the left, Asensio in the 10, Rashford on the right, or Donny Mallon in. There was a lot more fluidity on the wings. They don't have that this year, so they're going more of a like security first, bounce second. This is why I like Emery. Emery isn't one of these. And Dean, you're probably not going to like this. He's not one of these systems managers where he's like, this is my system, this is my tactic, this is my style of play, and I don't deviate from it. What I like about Emery is he looks at his team and goes, what do I have?
How do I get the best out of the players I have?
What do I need to do to get results? And this is why he was never able to cut it at like Arsenal, if you get me, where you're the team that's in the ascendancy all of the time, so you need a style of play, you need a system, you need a way to break down teams. Emery's the best manager in the world of tier 2 teams. What he did in his time in Spain, like 3 Europa Leagues, 4 Europa Leagues in 5 years or whatever it was, crazy stuff. He cleaned up trophies. I fully expect like Villa to be in the latter stages of the European competitions this year. Emery is brilliant at horses for courses football. We have X problem, we'll find solution Y. And it's boring, it's bland, it's reason why Villa are one of the teams that people aren't talking about, because it's not like you watch like Iriola's Bournemouth and there's a very clear identity to the team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's how do we win today?
Yeah. But you kind of have to respect that as well, like, you know, that kind of it takes kind of a lot of balls, it's very risky. Obviously it's not going to like get you into the top 4 in the Premier League, but like you said, John, Europa League getting into the semi-finals is kind of like the level that they're at, you know, quarterfinals, semi-finals, kind of level that they're at, and that's where they want to perform. Really, they know they'll finish like top 7 in like the Premier League, qualify for the Europa League, and then like give the Europa League a good go. Like that's kind of the level they're at. That's what they want to do, you know. So
there's something to be said here for this, right? And it was actually Peter Crouch in his podcast last week that mentioned Harry Redknapp, because he worked with obviously Harry Redknapp in one place, and I think it was Rafa Benitez at Liverpool or whoever it was, and he was like, one of the best managers he worked with was Harry Redknapp, because he could manage a National League team or a Champions League team, and it wasn't the case of you play for me. He goes, I will make you better, and we will go out there. Whereas he was like, when I was at Liverpool, it was, this is my style. If you don't fit in it, get out. Whereas he said about Harry Redknapp, it was the case, he'd come into the dressing room and go, right, what do I have? How do we figure it out? So his style of football when he was at Portsmouth was very different to his style of football at Spurs. And Emery is in a similar vein. Any player who plays for him adores the man. Any player you've ever heard that has played for Emery has great things to say about him. And nobody here can tell me what is Emery's absolute de facto style of football. Is he a pragmatic coach? Is he an attacking coach? What is he? Can anybody here tell me?
Yeah, that does sound really appealing, both to work for and to employ. If you're a Premier League club, is like, whatever style we want, this dude will make it happen. Like making the best resources you have is fucking key for mid-table, because you're never going to be spending, well, apart from last January, Villa are never going to be dropping 200 million in a window. You know, it's not like he's going to be coming in with a list of demands. If you know your guy is able to work with stuff, then you're going to pay more attention when he wants money, and you're going to be much more.
When he had those exciting wide players, he played to that. Now he doesn't have that, so it's a case of, and that's kind of what the start of this season was about. They got used to this kind of fluid 3 behind Watkins that could interchange, whether it was Asensio, Morgan Rogers, Rashford, and Donny Mallon, whichever 3 of the 4 played. Rashford didn't stay left. Sometimes he was inside. Sometimes he was on the right. Those 3 were dynamic behind Watkins. It was about to serve as Watkins. whereas they don't have that. So that first couple of games, it was like, where's our wingers? Oh fuck, we don't have them. Okay, how do we figure this out? And it sounds so boring, but sixth in the table, 5 wins in the last 6 games.
Can I give you some assets? Do you want some assets?
Yeah. Yes.
First of all of them, because their next 2 games are away to Leeds and home to Wolves, so there's absolutely no fucking risk there at all.
6 points move on. Yep.
6 points move on, but it's going to be interesting. Matty Cash is head and shoulders above the rest, as well as McGinn just behind him. Surprising to see consistent points per game from one of the biggest trap players I've ever seen, Luca Dini, who 2 seasons ago, in the system we were playing at the time, had as many weeks where he went into minus points as weeks where he went into plus. I mean, he made Fabian Schär blush. Like, he would, like, if he went wrong, he would go way wrong. It would be a straight red or a just silly stuff, and he'd have terrible days. But that seems to be behind him now. He's pulling in 14 points per game, and if Villa stay good, I think he stays good as well, or maybe it's the other way around. And after that, it's Kamara on 12 points per week. Again, kind of, it's defensive players really. Kind of like, we're not seeing strikers there. There's no sign of Watkins. Rodgers isn't really there yet in terms of points, but I suspect as the year goes on, it's coming. Because his own individual core stats are just that good. Like, the shots on target thing is unbelievable. His accuracy is lethal.
With him, you're waiting on a tipping point. And Digna is Luke Shaw in the sense of, and hear me out. Hear me out on this, right? So Luke.
No, I'm with you. I get it. I think
Luke Shaw's career at Man United is, I have a great season. Oh, I have no competition. I'll bum it out. We buy competition. I'm class again. And rotate the cycle. Mm-hmm. Since the day they signed Ian Maatsen from Chelsea via Dortmund, who had been brilliant for Dortmund in the Champions League, Maatsen was supposed to be the guy.
Yep.
He hasn't kicked the ball in the bones of the year in a bit that he's been there.
Did you draft him?
I did, yeah. I did, yeah. And this is why he hurts my feelings, and this is why Digna also hurts my feelings.
Well done on that. But yeah, look, I think they're going to keep moving on up. I think they're safe enough top half after Christmas. Haven't gone into all the fixtures there, but after November, they're certainly looking good for top 5. I see nothing slowing them down, but it is concentrated in a few players. A couple of disappointments this year. Eddie Martinez is only 10 points per game. Tyrone Mings hasn't really shone defensively as he did before his big injury there last season. Konsa's not doing much in terms of points either, but I think the sky is blue for Villa. Like, it's looking good for them.
I think that's fair, and like you've got some very interesting.
They're Brighton after Wolves. They're away from home. Another possible 3 points there. Maybe a draw.
Come on now,
Jimmy. I'll see you in the mud.
If we can hold Palace to a 0-0 draw, that's our second best defensive performance of the year. More on that later, maybe or maybe not.
We have an international break next week where we can do this kind of mailbag episode where we just go shoot the breeze about random topics of interest. I think we've got 2 weeks of international break, so we're going to have 2 episodes there where I reckon one of them will just shoot the breeze on some interesting bits.
Yeah.
There's definitely some interesting bits throughout the league.
But before that, can I say it? Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. Remember that guy? I really wish I could do that guy's voice. The guy on the scores on BBC. Anyway, yeah, I'm showing my age there. Liverpool got beat like wolves away.
It wasn't even okay, I've got 2 bugs.
Liverpool looked like they were, for the first 20 minutes, so they looked like they were giving them a bit of a game, but they just weren't able to.
Jimmy, can you do the voice for me? Because
I
Robertson was not offside. Fuck off, he was. He was trying to get out of the way of the goalkeeper. Offside is offside.
He was offside.
I would make the argument that, having looked at the rules and being very, very neutral on these things and completely ignorant, which makes me absolutely a blank slate, and giving me my own advantage in a way, if you squint. To be offside, he has to be blocking the eye line of the goalie to prove that he's actually involved in play, which he wasn't. I think the fact that he ducked, that's what it says, line 4 of the rules. I think he ducked to let the ball in. And I think that there was a bit of a whinge because the ducking distracted the goalie, but that's drawing his eye. So if I stand at the corner flag and start going, blah, 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 am I offside? No. I think the goal should have stood.
No.
I think Liverpool still should have lost.
No.
I don't think they would have won anyway because they were outclassed, but I think it should have stood.
He's in the path of the shot, and the fact that he made an action to either go for or not go for the ball, fact that he made an action. If you're a goalkeeper, right, and you see a player there, Richarlison's goal against Man United this weekend, or Richarlison's goal against Man United this weekend is a key thing of that. He got this weird little flicky head on it that sent it off to the other side. So Robertson does that. The goalkeeper's set to go catch the ball here. Robertson flicks it. He now has to reset himself to go the other direction. He's offside. The fact that he was in the pathway of the ball, regardless of if the goal went in the other side, near post, and went nowhere near Robertson, fine, no worry. The fact that he had to make an action to remove himself from the equation is enough for me to say offside.
And would you do him for handball if he pulled his hand out of the way really quickly? Because what you're saying is he was out of play and got out of play really quickly, so he was in play.
He's in an offside position, and the fact that he had to make an action to avoid the pathway of the ball is enough. If you were a goalkeeper and I'm standing here, right?
If he didn't have to move out of the
you could flick the header back the other direction. And you're not to know that he's offside or not. So as a goalkeeper, you have to play what's in front of you. And a fella here that can put the ball back across, I've changed my footwork, I've changed my body composition, I've changed my positioning in case he gets a touch. If the ball went in near side and went nowhere near Robertson, no complaints from me. The fact that he has to make an action of some sort to avoid the ball, that is enough for me to say it's offside. He had to duck it. Same way if I'm going to go handball the ball and I pull my hand away and it still hits me, that's still a fucking handball.
But at the point where he's not touching anyone or anything and he's offside, right?
No.
At that point, are you not blowing the whistle every time anyone moves into an offside position?
Jimmy, if Robertson doesn't duck, what happens?
Right hand side, I'm not affecting play. Sure, if he's in the pathway of it, difference.
If Robertson doesn't duck, the ball hits off Robertson and doesn't go into the fucking back of the net. He ducks out of the way. He has an effect on play by ducking out of the way, which allows the ball to go into the net, which allows the fucking goal to be scored. He's having a direct effect on the goal being scored by moving out of the way.
And if he's not there, the goalkeeper has an easy save by a professional Premier League goalkeeper standards. He's got a footwork, the way the body will be. It's an easy move. If the goal went in the other side of the goals and had nothing to do with Robertson, he didn't have to make a move or action. Different story. It's offside.
So at this point, I feel I should say something very quickly to all the girlfriends and wives of listeners who aren't into fantasy football but overhear this from their fellas or their other halves, phone or tablet or whatever. I just want you all to know that I got them to explain offside to me. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Fuck off, Jimmy. Look, the thing for me here, right? And I know you've got numbers to run through here in a second.
Not for this game. No, this was just ballet for me.
Liverpool didn't really look, and Dean, I think you said this after the first 20 minutes, they didn't look like they were going to lay a glove on them for the rest of the day.
No, they just didn't look confident. They didn't really look like they could, like they didn't seem like they thought that they could actually beat City. Like they didn't really threaten the goal that much, and Haaland was just all over them again. Even I actually felt that was it the second or the third goal where Van Dijk just kind of slightly flicks his foot and it hits his foot and deflects in. I actually thought that should have gone down as an own goal for Van Dijk. Because that ball was going straight for the keeper.
From an FPL standpoint, you've got all of the Liverpool fans who've put Van Dijk in the team. What do you mean? His goal was and now you're giving. Well, technically, he scored a goal at the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, he got as much of a touch on that as Richarlison did in his header at the weekend. I would have put it down as an own goal personally.
I have two friends who are Liverpool fans, and they have said that Van Dijk's problem this season has been Konate. I would argue that Konate's problem this season has been Van Dijk. That's me personally, given what I've been seeing. And I know, look, there's a lot of conversation online the last 24, 48 hours about that Van Dijk isn't world class. I think he's a very, 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 very good centre back, but there's a slight difference here. When you're looking at Cannavaro, Maldini, Ramos, fucking,
Were we ever putting him in the same category as Maldini and Ramos?
As far as
Jimmy Carragher was saying,
he's the best fucking player of all time. Yeah. Robbie Fowler invented football. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
I don't even think he's Liverpool's historic best centre back.
I think he's a very good player who's having a very bad year. And it's not even that bad statistically.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad, but there's the mistakes he's making are quite intense. Like against Man United, that 30-second window at the start of the game where he crunched McAllister. He then proceeded to pass his man over to the other centre-back and then proceeded to blame the two defenders either side of him when Mbeumo stepped back. Whereas if he just went and engaged, problem solved. In the two actions there, if he didn't go for the ball in the first place and trusted McAllister to do his job, he'd have been in position to do it in the first place. And if he didn't pass over the player and just took ownership of his man, that goal doesn't go in. And it's the same yesterday. Doku ran riot. I know that was the other side.
There's a midfield and attack question there. Just even just a really superficial look at the stats on this game, because it's not something I went too deep into, but Liverpool had over half the possession and they had half the shots City did. You know what I mean? Like, if they're not creating chances, then I would have questions slightly further up the pitch than Van Dijk, especially if they've got
the most
ball.
passes in the Premier League right now.
He does. But I mean, as a team, if they've got like comparable possession and they're only getting half of the shots off, then where are they getting closed down? Is it a defensive line from City? Is it a strong midfield? Oh, talk to me. What did you see?
I was seeing a lot of almost possession for possession's sake across the back at times, and Van Dijk is essentially like quarterbacking this team at times. He's got 827 passes in the league at the moment. You've got Lewis Dunk, Paul Van, and like the two Brighton centre backs are the next two.
Yeah. The boys be busy.
And then after that, it's Elliot Anderson, Trevor Chalobah, Saliba, Zumba Mendy, Ruben Diaz, and then Konate. So the two Liverpool centre-backs are in the top 10 for most passes this season. So what that will say to you is that they're happy moving it across their back line, waiting for a team to press them, find a gap, and then play the gaps. They're trying to draw teams onto them. Now, that works when your wingers are on song. Has Liverpool's wingers been on song this year? Gapco has. Salah's played in moments. Ekitike has done well in games. Wirtz looked like a child yesterday. It was shocking. Like, he played brilliantly against Real Madrid.
He's really struggling in the Premier League. He
played brilliantly against Madrid in the week in Europe. Like, and maybe it was the big up from beating Madrid during the week. Maybe they thought they'd go to City and be able to just pummel them because, like, we beat Real Madrid and played them off the park. They played Madrid off the park in the week. And maybe there's a mental thing there. Maybe it's a physicality of the Premier League thing there. It's very hard to pin your finger directly on it because all of the pieces of the puzzle are there.
And they're just not like, they're just having, I mean, like, Isak is out injured, and even when he wasn't injured, he wasn't fit. Like, Ekitike has been on brilliant form. He has been on great form. Wirtz just, I'd be surprised if he's tracking there next year, like, to be honest. Well,
remember I told Gary in the summer he wouldn't work in the Premier League, and he told me I was an idiot.
Yeah, he's really struggling. I read somewhere as well that he's actually... Yeah.
Body frame. Of the 5 top Premier League signings this summer, 4 of the 5 were over 6'3", and the other one was Wirtz.
Yeah. So Slot's got his work cut out for him. I don't think Slot will be sacked this season anyway. I think that's almost definite. He'll get.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. Liverpool are 8th with 11 games gone as the reigning champions. If they're 8th at Christmas, do you think he's staying in the job after them spending $500 million? I don't.
I don't think they stay behind United, Villa, or Spurs at Christmas.
You don't think so, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility based on the results that we've seen so far.
It's not. It's possible. I think it's unlikely, but bear in mind now that it's the same points total right now between 5th and 9th. So they're de facto 5th.
Also remember, Man United are supposed to be shit. Liverpool are supposed to be reigning Premier League champions. Liverpool spent a record amount of money in the summer to go from
it may be the money that brings them down. The shopping spree
behind United when United went from 15 to a point above Liverpool. I know it's 11 games in, but this is
no. This is the real shit. And I think if it does come down for any slop, he's going to really, really regret getting everything he wanted in the summer, because those have not worked out in any serious kind of way. Kirkes is starting to find his feet. Frimpong's nowhere. Isak's in and out. Ekitiki's good when he's on. Wirtz isn't firing. Like, the guys who are getting the points right now, and I think probably winning games for Liverpool when they win,
we guess on who's getting the points?
Well, you know who number 1 is. Like,
it's going to be Szoboszlai, McAllister,
yes.
Gravenberch.
Yes. No, McAllister.
McAllister.
Yeah, McAllister has half the PPG of the other two. Szoboszlai is in our team of the year. He's on 216 with an absolutely staggering 19 points per game, which is the kind of level that you usually only see out of like a Salah 24. After him, it's Gakpo on 183 at 16 points a game because he missed a couple. Solid when he's there. Gravenberch on 165 and 18 per. And then after that, you've got Van Dijk, Salah, Konate kind of hovering around 12.5, 13 per week. Nobody else is over 10. I think McAllister missed a few games. I think McAllister's being used much more defensively this year. He's there when they want to fight, and Wirtz is there when they want to flounce, and the flounces aren't working, but the fights are. So McAllister might go up, but he's not going to catch the other two at this point. It's grab curtains, obviously.
I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, and I really had a good. Do you know what? I'll say this: I had a good discussion with 2 Liverpool fans on the stream on Saturday, and one of them was mentioned because I said that the 2 formations that they should be looking at are a 4-4-2 diamond and a 3-5-2, and it was the one I think Slot wanted was a 3-5-2, but I think he's got a team for a 4-4-2 diamond infrastructure. And it's Isaac, Ekitike up top, it is Gapco or Wirtz in behind, it's obviously McAllister and Gravenberch as your midfield base, and then your back four. And that gives you a base to play off of. I think half the problem there for Liverpool is it's almost like a mental factor. We didn't get Gahey, we didn't get our centre back, we're weak at the back. They're giving up a scandalous amount of chances. Like, Liverpool are still good. This is in the context, just for any Liverpool fans out there screaming and shouting, Liverpool are still a good football team. This is in the context of, by Liverpool standards, they've gone from first to a point behind Man United, which for a Liverpool fan, after spending a world record amount of money in the summer, has to be a case of.
And just gave their talisman a brand new massive contract last year as well.
Yeah, there's the problems that are there, and I don't think it looked at the weekend that, like, and maybe this is premature, but I did have him in the top 5 potential managers to get sacked next, and it didn't really look to me like Slot has the backing of the boys, if that makes sense. They're playing because they're good players, but I don't necessarily think they're playing for him. You can see the love that those guys had for Klopp. You can see the way the love that the boys have at City for Pep. They will run through walls for Pep.
So their next 2 games are Forest and West Ham, which might make things a little easier, but something very dangerous happens after that.
See,
after that it's Sunderland.
Forest will beat them.
Forest might beat them. West Ham might beat them. Sunderland will scare the shit out of them.
West Ham won't. Forest will. Liverpool's Achilles heel this year has been the long ball, has been the long angled direct pass. Which manager is best known for the long angled direct pass to a target man sent forward? It's Gravelface Sean Dyche. It's one of these ones that, and he will look at the weakness in the air and go, okay, Van Dijk hasn't been enjoying the aerial balls all season. Kirkes hasn't been enjoying the aerial balls. Chris Wood, pin one of the 2 of them and we will send it over and over. And I listened to, I was listening to something, and one of the lads was talking about Stoke. The Stoke era when Tony Pulis was the manager, when Arsenal hated going to Stoke and they couldn't seem to get results against them at Stoke. And it was very much a case of, you'd have John Walters saying, see the fullback, all right, from kickoff, we're going to lose the ball, stick it on him so I can nail him. So he knows that he's in for a battle for the next 90 minutes. He had no interest in the ball. He just wanted to nail the guy just so that he could pick him up and go, this is your next 90 minutes. Sean Dyche is going to do that to Kirkes. He's going to send ball after ball after ball. And where the weakness has been for Van Dijk, and sorry, this is the tactical stuff that I like watching. Because Kirkes is weak over there, what's been happening is Van Dijk actually has to come further across. This is why Andy Robertson has ended up back in the team, because he's more secure in there. Van Dijk has to go across and cover, which puts Van Dijk in a position where he's not comfortable, which is isolated one-on-one in a place where a winger is going to be able to. Where Van Dijk is at his best is he's able to come back off and sprint.
Yeah.
Come back off the play, wait for you to make your decision, and then take. It's
that goal, isn't it? The one where he's looking around blaming Kanate. I can't remember. We mentioned it earlier on, but it's that open space. So there wasn't 2 of them in front of the goals. It was one. Van Dijk was pulled out left. That was covering Kirkes.
Best example visually of it, yes.
That's the Mbuemo one, isn't it?
Yes, it's the best example visually, but that's the routine.
Is that why Robbo's back?
That's why Robbo's back.
Okay.
It doesn't isolate Van Dijk in a position where he's not comfortable. Robertson is better in the air than Kirkes has been, and Kirkes has not started well, and that means that when he goes bombing up the channel and isn't getting back properly because they're transitioning back on him really quick, Van Dijk is having to go out one-on-one with a winger where, and remember, this is a guy who went whatever many years without being dribble past. And I know it was sarcastic at the start of this podcast, but it's very hard to be dribbled past when when your style of defending means you never engage. He steps back. He's a very patient defender. He steps back. But look at Doku's goal at the weekend. If you step back enough and you give a player with that
He's
quality,
given the space to fire one into the roof of the net. Yeah.
Do you know what though? As well, you have to think about it. Like Doku's fucking fast. Like he's 23 years old. Like Van Dijk's 34. You know, so like he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't have the legs that he has had the past couple of years. He's still quality, like, but playing against a 23-year-old who's kind of like, just they've got that real. I wouldn't even say an extra spring in their step. They got a big spring in their step, like compared to like you at 34 years old. Like it was always going to be hard for Van Dijk to like defend against Doku, and Doku was
a major criticism of him. But when you get to a certain point, it's very hard to maintain. And I think his style isn't conducive to certain player types coming up against him. But from a City perspective, and let's talk City, because you have to give City their flowers.
Do we have to?
They're ominous. And it wasn't just Erling Haaland who scored, so it kind of puts a lot of the conversation we had last week in terms of, is there other people in City that can score? The answer is yes. And it's quick, and it's easy. And they haven't hit the point of the season where they go on a 10, 12-game winning streak yet.
Can I tell you something?
An Arsenal with a pep team breathing down their neck,
and they are really bleeding down their neck.
There's a pep team chasing you when they're known to go on a 10, 12-game winning streak. That's on.
City can really make you forget about the fact that they lost against Burnley like 2 games ago. You know, if they just go out and they just go out and they just have like 2 extremely dominant performances, and then you just kind of just forget about that completely. Like it looks like, they looked really, really solid the weekend. I'd be nervous if I was Arsenal. I'd be very, very nervous.
But Dean, if you look at City's last couple of title wins, they've been second until like mid-January, and they do enough to kind of be thereabout, and then they string win. It's not like it's 5 wins and a draw. It's like 8, 9 wins back to back, and they haven't hit this point of the season yet. And Haaland looks ominous, and Foden looks back on it, and Jerky looked interesting, and Ruben
it's
Diaz
scary.
Is brilliant again.
Have you seen their next 3 games? It's away to Newcastle, at home to Leeds, and away to Fulham. 9. And then they get a challenge when the December madness starts, and they're at home to Sunderland, who I think everyone in the league should be scared of after being the only team to put 2 past Arsenal this year, just that a couple of days ago.
I can't believe we're not talking about that tonight.
We'll get there. We'll have time to have a little chat about the best recovery ever. But in terms of assets, just to get there quickly on City, all of them. Even if you take out Haaland, Foden is now racking up 17, approaching 18 points per game. Diaz is up to 13 a game. Nico Gonzalez is at 12 a game. Mateus fucking Nunes is at 12 a game. Nico O'Reilly, Reinders, Doku now is back in the frame, although he's still only at 112 for the year.
Some of those names is that this is Pep Roulette.
It is. That's the problem exactly, is that you never know who he's going to pick. I've just named an attacking line there, and that's the problem, is the rotation.
You named all of the wingers, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Guardiola has dropped down this year. Like the guys who are nailed on just aren't going to get a whole pile of love, because it's the guys in the least sexy ones. Again, don't fall for City goalies, because they've got a City defence in front of them. So Donnarumma ain't worth a whole pile more than Martinez is, if you're thinking that way. It's Haaland. Pick Haaland. Fucking Haaland. Stitch the captain's armband into his arm. Never take it off.
I took the captain's band off him this week.
Oh man, I took it off him for like the last 3 weeks in a row.
I took it off him and I gave it to Sexy Joe, because he was playing Wolves.
I gave it to Casado, because he was playing Wolves.
I think the real move over in the sister house this year is, if it's not Haaland, give it to the centre forward playing Wolves.
Yeah.
Normally, it's like, and I feel it's gas, because most years you'd be like, oh well, anyone can beat anyone, so nothing's except Wolves. Wolves are just
It's like
absolute
that's
firing ground.
Over at our friends at FPL, you captain Haaland, and if you're not captaining Haaland, give it to the highest scoring points player against Wolves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of scoring against Wolves,
see the transition there. Did you like that?
I don't think Liverpool are going to win the league. Anyway,
no, City.
Mandem FC.
Mandem FC, known as Chelsea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like they're going under some people's radars Do you know that? Like they're just
I
like
think they are because they have problems. They have huge, glaring, obvious, screaming problems
So
good
do
at
you
the
want
back.
stats?
Yes,
at the
please.
Do
back.
you want stats? I know. It's like every week I'm like the mama hen, and I come back to this little nest to feed John his stats, and then he sings. Beautiful, beautiful tactics. So they are moving up the table. They had a problem. They've fixed it. The stat that they are the outlier on is shots on target. They are way, way, way ahead of everyone else. They're creating more shots and getting them in between the sticks than any other team. They're at 5.4 per game. Next nearest is City, and they're not even at 5, right? But they're very low for long balls. It's none of this, not the Newcastle, even the City to Haaland thing that's going on right now, because obviously they're not big, tall boys like Newcastle. They're little short fellas, apart from Trevo. But they had a problem. 4 red cards, 3 of them straight reds. And that, obviously, you will know better than I do, Jay. 10 men against 11 can be tricky. So there are assets there, but let's talk about how they got here, because 4 reds is way, way high before Halloween, and 3 of them straight reds. Is this a discipline thing? Is this their
Yes.
strategy?
No.
It's not like go and break legs. They're not like Leeds in the
It's a
70s.
discipline problem because, and again, having watched them, Maresca has been booked a couple of times. Maresca's actually been sent off a couple of times since he's been there. He's a very emotional man. That feeds to the team. That when a decision goes against it, it's scream, it's shout, it's big, it's dramatic. That riles up the lads on the pitch as well. It's a secular thing. And like if you look at the state of the red cards that they've been giving away, a lot of them have been rash because it's 5-11 at the moment. Red cards, 5 in the last 11 games, 6 if you include the manager.
I'm not sure about outside Premier League. I have 4 in the Premier League,
And 1 in
excluding
Europe.
manager.
So 5-11 is what the numbers are at.
Okay,
and Maresca as well is 6. Jesus, that's
6
shocking.
this season already.
That is ridiculous.
Do you know what I mean? Like they have a discipline problem at the back, and it's also the fallacy of youth. They have very little like senior experience in the dressing room. Like Malo Gusto is young. Look at the guys getting the red cards. The lap, Gusto, Chalaba, Akapa. I can't pronounce his name, but
him.
They're the young. It's not Reece James. It's not Cuco Rea. It's not Caicedo. It's not Enzo. It's
can I have an I was right moment? So, do you remember a very, very long time ago when we were covering the summer window closing at the start of last season?
Yes.
And I said a team like Chelsea needs someone like Conor Gallagher that has experience and knows how to lead.
Who was already there and they sold him, yeah.
Correct. Just saying. There you go.
I do think there's like a leadership thing there, but also when you look at the profile of the team now. So let's look at the lineup for the other day. I'm just going to pull it up here. You had Malo Gusto, Fabana, Chalaba, and Kugre. I also do think the goalkeeper doesn't help because I think and I've said this before about goalkeepers, having a goalkeeper who you feel you trust emanates across the pitch. And when you've got a fellow like Sanchez who loves an error, He's solid at times.
Who's crazy?
Yeah, he makes a lot of errors.
Okay, it's gas because it's statistically, and I don't know fuck about shit when it comes to goalies, but he was way up there for the first 5 games while everything was going on because he was so busy because they were always down a man. And now that he's got a whole team in front of him, he's a bloody disaster. He's plummeting towards 8 points per game, down from like 14.
See, and this is the thing with Sanchez, right? He's actually like, in terms of keeper mechanics, a very, very, very good goalkeeper. In terms of the mental side of the game, that's what lets him down. Because even in games where he's having a 9 out of 10 performance, he's liable to give up a howler. So you'll see from your stat sheet a Sanchez 1 goal conceded, but when you watch it, it's Sanchez's fault that it was conceded. There's some nuance there. He might make 5-10 saves, but he's the reason that the other one. And then you look up at the midfield. The midfield of Caicedo and Enzo is the best midfield in the Premier League. Let's just move on from that. But then the problem comes with the problem then Chelsea have out the front, and it sounds like they're third in the Premier League. Like whatever. João Pedro belongs in a Chelsea jersey. It just looks right. When you look at the makeup of the wingers in front, man, there's still this. Is it Neto? Neto has scored like 8 goals since he's been at Chelsea. Garnacho is a prissy little baby, but when he plays good, he's brilliant. When he plays bad, he's a prissy little baby. Liam Delap is quite good, if not injury prone and potentially inconsistent at that level for the next year or two. He's going to be a stunning striker, but it's going to take him a year or two to get there. when you look at the rest of the lineup around that area of the pitch, you're looking at Buonanotte, you're looking at Gittins, you're looking at Tyreek George, Mark Guy. Like they've rotated in a shitload. Let's just go through their wing options that they've used this year. They have used Dario Asugo. They have used Andre Santos. They have used Facundo Buonanotte. They have used Pedro Neto. They have used Jamie Gittins. They have used Alejandro Garnacho. They have used Estevao. Joe Pedro is their 10 until Cole Palmer comes back, and then your striker has been Liam Delap or Murphy. The selling of Jackson now looks like a bad idea because there isn't a senior hitman in the squad.
Yeah.
You're nodding away there. Talk to me.
Yeah, no, I agree again with Jackson. Was probably a big mistake. Liam Delap, he came from Ipswich. Yeah, Ipswich. I mean, just a bit green around the gills, I think. He could have done with a bit of more senior player in Nicholas Jackson. And Nicholas Jackson's still young, but he's been around the block for a bit. Now it just looks like Delap's kind of left on his own up front. But at least like they do have quality players behind them, like Joe Pedro Neto, like you said. Caicedo's having a very good season. Enzo Fernandez yesterday was actually like really, really good. And your man Estevao is 18 years old, and he's just an absolute baller. Like we were talking about it yesterday when the match was on. Like he is an absolute baller and a half. So they do actually have a quality squad, but yeah, they need to get the discipline under control because it's starting to thin out. Like the more suspensions that they get, but and you were saying earlier on, John, like the defenders, like they're got a bit of trouble at the back, but like Shabla, Cucurella, like quality at the back. Gusto got his first senior goal, which was nice for him.
Two of those three names are two of the three red cards that we've mentioned.
yeah.
That's the other side.
And despite that, though,
and sorry to interrupt, but this is what I'm saying is that with the age profile of the squad right now, they're going to be inconsistent. There's going to be games where they raid teams. But like remember during the week they played Quarabeg in Europe, and they drew 2-2, having left it behind them. Because it was almost like they went out there going, meh, we're better than this lot. Roll them over and let's get done.
Yeah, you know I wouldn't be surprised if they picked up a striker maybe in January. I could see them definitely pick one up in next summer anyway. Like Liam Delap, I just think that it was just.
I think if you were to not touch Chelsea's squad now, you will see the best of them by the tail end of next year. Because that's a team that will get better playing together. They'll get more consistency. They'll know, and this is part of the Chelsea problem. That this is why they won't win shit. They will do well. They'll get top four. They'll win shit because there's a rotating cast of wingers. They're selling 6-7 wingers every summer, and there's no players who can get that interconnection. And Cole Palmer is the most overrated player in English football. He's better when he doesn't play at the minute. He's done nothing since last Christmas. But it's for Chelsea when Cole Palmer comes back. They're fine. They're rolling over. They'll end up in the top four. They'll be grand. But they'll win nothing.
Who wants to hear the numbers that will absolutely break their heart?
Hit me.
Right. For starters, Chelsea are the best balanced squad in Premier League
Arsenal
from fantasy point of views. Nope. Arsenal are weak out front. Chelsea are the only team to have 2 defenders in the top 20, 2 forwards in the top 20, 2 mids in the top 20, and amidst that they have 2 in the team of the year. The 2 in the team of the year is Caicedo and James. The 2 defenders are Chalobah and James. Yep.
Okay.
The 2 defenders are Chalobah and James, despite red cards. They're still top 20 overall for the year. Caicedo and Enzo are both top 20 mids.
Yep.
And Pedro and Neto are both top 20 forwards. Nobody else has that. So I think, if anything, we're underselling them. Dino, I think people are sleeping on them. I think when Arsenal fuck this up, it's going to be Chelsea behind them and not City. Yeah.
Do you want to do a little?
You know my weird data balls are always on the table with predictions, so I'll say it now. I think Chelsea finish second.
No. City 1, Arsenal 2, Liverpool 3.
No.
Liverpool are not getting 3, John.
You want to know the difference between Liverpool and Chelsea, right? And this is like, Dalai Cav on a mountaintop somewhere, contemplating his crystal orbs and going, Liverpool are a team that haven't got their shit together because the manager keeps trying stuff, and Chelsea are a team who keep trying different things but have their shit together now. as our City, as our
Never heard the
Arsenal.
words
I think
Chelsea and
Liverpool.
having their shit together.
I know.
Since Aldrich
It's
had
I
Bowley's
just
ownership.
I only speak in the numbers, but the numbers tell me that this Chelsea team is way stronger in its core and way more solid and performing than you think it is. So keep an eye on them.
Look, they're third in the league, and this is a thing of I'm looking at the long term here. The lack of a recognised frontman. Delap will be fine in his first Premier League season at a team like that. If he scores 8 goals, that's a good return. Neto's not the answer. Gay is not the answer. They're going to bin them both off in the summer. Garnacho, we all know, isn't the answer long term, but when he plays well, he's very good. But when he plays awful,
But he's
awful.
not someone you'd rely on.
He's not someone like this is what I'm saying about the guys where Chelsea are going to have their issues late in the season, or when you look at that front section, there's no guy that you. João Pedro, I reckon, is going to be the guy. If Chelsea are going to do anything this year, it's going to be João Pedro.
15 goals there, I'd say. He's on track for kind of 14, 15 if he keeps going as he's going. If Estevao...
I wanted to talk about Estevao. 62 senior level before he went to Chelsea.
Serious, like.
Where does he
serious?
Was it Palmeiras or Corinthians?
Brazil,
he became
that young
Brazilian
man
league anyway, and he played. Oh Jesus Christ! He played them in the summer. He played them in the summer at the Club World Cup because he stayed with his team to play for them before he traded. He basically played for the other team and then got the Chelsea flight home with the boys to go into their pre-season.
Yeah, it's Palmeiras.
Palmeiras, that was the one. And his surname is Willian. I wonder if he's any relation
to the great man. Is the legend of Final Fantasy, Jesus, fantasy football past. No, look, I just think, maybe you're right, guys. Maybe they need that kind of, dare I say it, a Danny Welbeck in January. Someone big and old and leadery for the young guys is probably no harm.
Remember Thiago Silva a couple of years ago?
Yeah, that kind of figure.
When there was a game that wasn't really, like, Chelsea against Qarabag in Europe, that should be a 4-5-0, get it done, let's be professional, rotate out 5 subs nearly half-time, and just go home. That's what it should be. It wasn't. Brilliant. They played Wolves at the weekend. Look, they're going to be fine. They're going to do fine. I do think there'll be a few issues there that you will see crop up throughout the season. Anyway, fuck them. Let's talk about some of the games that we're going to look at in 2 weeks' time.
What a wonderful thing for the Chelsea fans. I'm sure
I don't like being happy
all.
about the blue end of West London.
No, why is that, I wonder?
Considering my side, I might be seeing the lads at Wolves in the Championship next year if it keeps going on.
Oof. Brighton
Actually, let's not look at the fixtures for 2 weeks' time yet.
Okay.
Let's talk Spurs United. Let's talk about the fixtures when it's time to talk about the fixtures. Let's talk
Spurs United.
Dean, hi.
Oh man, do you know what, like, if we won it, we would have deserved to have won it. We drew, we almost deserved the draw. But it's, I mean, like, I'm hearing all this stuff like the past couple of days. It's kind of like, you know, like, oh, United have turned a corner. You know, they can dig deep in at the very end, like, and pull out a draw. And I'm like, we were fucking winning until the 86th minute. What do you mean we were digging deep, pull out a draw? We lost the win for ourselves, you know? Like, it's just really frustrating.
Would you not say, Dean, though, that the last 2 games where they've, like, if you look at the last 5 games, it's 3 wins, 2 draws, and those 2 draws are 2 games that they would have found a way to lose last year?
Yeah, I know.
That's progress.
Yeah, I think it's just, it is progress. I think it's just that, you know, I think United fans are generally kind of like on a bit of a high at the moment. It kind of looks like we're very slowly starting to turn the corner in a positive direction.
Feast or famine, I find online with them.
Yeah. Like again, in Buemo, like it's just like that was a bit of a scrappy goal, but it was still a great header by him.
And a nice cross for last month. Manager of the month for last month.
Manager of the month, yeah.
They haven't lost in 5 games.
Yeah.
And those 2 games are 2 games I thought they would have lost last year. Jimmy, I have a stat for you.
I promise I'll have a tactic for you next week.
So Casemiro. So Dean, you might agree with me that the substitutions that Man United made at the weekend, a lot has been kind of said about the substitutions. I looked at them and went, well, McGuire pulled up injured. Dorgu got booked. Casemiro plays for 60 minutes and then has to be rotated out. Mason Mount for Cunha makes sense around the 60-70 minute mark to change up the attack when you're trying to press a team that's coming at you. And the only other one was Sesko for Nazar Mazraoui, which put Ahmed at right wing back to make things a bit more attacking to kill the game when they were 1 goal up. I had no issue with the subs. Where it gets interesting is Casemiro. Casemiro is Man United's most important player this year.
Oh yeah, he's back to
That-
22
that's-
Casemiro. He's good Casemiro.
When he's
He's
fit,
like
he is
Lucadini that
quality.
way.
So here's the stat. United have
Go on.
conceded 20 goals this season. How many when Casemiro's been on the pitch?
Go on.
5.
5. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Casemiro only plays for 60 minutes. So that means, and I know a lot has been written about, it's when Man United makes the subs is when the momentum goes out of their game and that's when the goals go in. No,
But-
it's when Casemiro goes off.
But.
Has he kind of taken on
How's his discipline?
Fernandez's role in what Fernandez is usually be kind of like an attacking kind of like midfielder?
No, it's the defensive work. It's the stuff around the back. They're not.
Yeah, but is he one of these players?
With him off the pitch?
Is he like
who gets
Palhinha, where
substituted at average 60 minutes? That means they're conceding most of their goals in the last 30 minutes just by running the mats and that.
Yeah.
But most teams will concede more in the last 20 minutes anyway. But is the risk with Casemiro to playing him for the full 90 minutes that you know he's on a yellow after 5?
It's no, he can't. You'll get the best out of Casemiro. I reckon this is one of these manager-player talks because I have a guy on my team who is the best player on my team, but he's 46. But holy fuck a duck, is he class? But there's an agreement that you give me everything you've got for 55 and I get you out of there.
Right. And is Casemiro hitting that age
I
now?
think that is Casemiro's role this season,
Yeah,
that there's a
I think
conversation
so.
with Amorim and him and going, if you can give me your best for 6, because what you saw last year was essentially a guy who's trying to manage and through a 90, and that's where the mistakes come, that's where the yellow cards come, that's where making challenges because you're running in tar to try to get back around. But if a conversation happened there with the player and the manager going, look, you're not 28 anymore, if you can give me an hour at 100% throttle, I'll get you the fuck out of there at the hour mark.
So who's their other DM?
But this, Ugarte. But this is where the long-term plan of trying to bring Man United back to where they want to be makes sense, because they improved it. The obvious glaring issue last year was their front line. They scored 40 to 44 goals between them last year. But between the whole team last year, they scored 40 to 48 goals, or 40 to 44 goals. The 3 that they brought in scored 48 between them. So that's like, okay, firepower problem, fix that. Here, the goalkeeper has biscuit wrists. Get in a competent goalkeeper. Senny Lamens looks pure chill. And then the other 2 problems are left wing back and centre midfield. They were trying to fix the centre midfield in the summer, ran out of time and their money. So that's next. And the left wing back is next. So you can see, this reminds me of like early Klopp days where you could see what was happening, but you can also see where the issues that need to be plugged are. And I think when they plug those issues, you're going to see the best of that team. But it screams that when it's a case of Casemiro goes off in the hour mark and then the goals start coming in.
Yeah. But
What do you see, Dean, as the fan?
what I think we need up front, like Sesko is really struggling. I think like last week, I mean, we all saw what happened at the end of the game there yesterday. He 1-1 with the keeper, and Van Ven just completely took him out. It was just I said during the week, Van Ven is quality. He's so good for Spurs, but
His goal,
like it's like he sometimes takes scandalous, really. But like it just seems like sometimes like Sesko just takes like that extra touch too much, rather than just like backing himself and just taking a shot. And then I think last week it was when he was kind of on the edge of the 6-yard box and he just blew it over the bar. He just doesn't seem very composed up front. It's kind of like the same issue that Chelsea have with the lap. Like we could do with a striker that just has a little bit more, been around the block a bit more and kind of like be a bit of a leader up front. But thank God Mbuemo was doing the business. Thank God Mbuemo was doing the business for us, because we really lost without him.
But are Sesko's problems not the exact same as well Hoyland's problems were? Are they not the exact same problems that Xerxes were? Are they not the exact same problem?
What, you're not getting service? Is that what we go to?
It's a young striker who is essentially learning and finding their way at a top level. And a team like Man United where you have more scrutiny. Like, if you had an Ollie Watkins in the dressing room, just a striker, they don't need to be tier 1 quality. A tier 2 striker who is going to bag 5 to 10 goals, happy to be starting, happy to be on the bench, knows that there's going to be rotation between.
Yeah.
Someone who's been there in the war, that can
Someone that's been around
have
the
a chat
block,
with him in
exactly.
training and go, do you know what you do when this defender does this? Stand on his toe.
Yeah,
Oh, when this
yeah.
fella mouths at you, give him a little nudge. These little tricks that you pick up
Mm.
through. United's last three centre forwards have had no body to bounce off of. If you're Kobe
Yeah.
Mainoo right now, you've got Casemiro and Bruno to learn off of. If you're Lenny Orr right now, you have DeLitt. You
I don't think Sesko is actually a particularly good dribbler either. If you watch him like dribbling the ball, it looks like almost like his limbs are too big for his body or something. He looks a bit. That's it. Like he's a player that you need to be crossing the ball into and getting a header on the ball. And he just hasn't been getting that this season. Um, so I don't know. We do need to get. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't think we'll go and get a striker in there in January, and I'd be surprised if we got one in next summer. To be honest, as well, I think they're back in Sesko now. Like, and he'll get there. He will, but I mean, he's injured now, so Cunha will probably start up front, I imagine, and maybe Mount on the left and Mbuemo on the right, which is my preferred front three personally at the moment. Um, but yeah, we just gotta. The team are playing well. Just keep backing them. As long as they're not losing games like they were before, and they're playing with confidence. You can tell that they are playing with confidence.
A bit of patience pays off, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they are playing with confidence. You can really tell, compared to like the previous years.
Last season, they would have lost it. When they went 2-1 down to Spurs this week,
yeah.
Last season, they would have conceded a third and a fourth in the next 5 minutes. And
and De Ligt as well is probably one of the best performing defenders in the league as well at the moment over the past like 5 or 6 games. Actually, what kind of point is...
Before we... Yeah, Jimmy, do you have any points on this?
It's De Ligt actually,
No,
fantasy-wise, is the...
Fair.
No, it's United. Don't touch it.
Fair,
Don't
fair.
touch it. There was 4 weeks last year in January when Man United were the absolute best team and they were the defenders and Maguire was brilliant and Johnny Evans was back and yay, everything was going to be okay. And then there was this that slow hissing noise when you realise that a fart's actually solid, and then they became United again. It's going to happen. Not if, but when.
We'll see.
Probably. But before we go, is De Ligt better than Van Dijk? Oh no, sorry, drop back on it.
Poor Virgil's getting an awful doing, man. He's been so outspoken the last couple of weeks as well. I hope he responds to you.
We he did to Wayne Rooney. For a fella who said he didn't care, he had an awful lot to say in that interview during last week.
He went off the week before as well.
For a fella who doesn't care, for a fella who doesn't listen to any of the hype, he was very well informed of exactly what was said. But anyway, I digress. That is enough for this week. I think what we'll do is we have a couple of weeks of international football there, so we'll probably use one. We'll use this one next week to talk about maybe our highlight, bits and pieces, some interesting tidbits from the Premier League this season, and obviously a Game Week 12 preview, which I'm going to stick by my now standardised line of stack back after the international break. Jimmy, where do people go if they want to find the bits and the bobs?
So if you head on over to fantasy.premier... No, you don't, because we're the alternative. The Premier League is grand, but we're new and we're more creative with how fantasy football works. We're at StatrDraft.com. That's StatrDraft.com, where you'll find lovely articles by John, demented numbers by me, occasionally a picture of Dino in a tutu, and you can join the waiting list. You can see what we're up to with the app. The app is still very, very close and has been very close for a while, but we made a fairly major leap forward there this week, and hopefully we'll have something very exciting for you over the next fortnight, but more on that later. I'm not giving it away now. But that's us for tonight, I think, gentlemen.
I think so.
It's been beautiful.
You're happier, I'm happier, we're all we're happy. Look, everybody breathe. It's November International, because after this break, the next 6 weeks gets a little bit.
Everything gets silly.
This is
I love it.
The next pocket of the Premier League between after the international break and New Year. This is where the fun shit happens. So watch this space. What's about to come down the tracks in the next few weeks is where this gets interesting. So good luck, goodbye, good night, thanks, peace. Let's do it. Out the